anime that came out during the spring 2015 season that was really hyped, it was this one. This anime had an amazing start with an interesting setting, characters, and story, which could have made it an anime of the year. But where did it just go wrong? Hello everyone, I'm Joe and you, and welcome to another edition of You and Anime Review. This episode, Gangsta. Now, even though the show is called Gangsta, it is not about boys in the hood type of gangsters. It is closer to the mafia. There are different gangs in the world of Ergostellum, each one with a pretty gritty background. It is actually a city built as a quarantine zone. The main story is about two handyman mercenaries, Nicholas and Warwick, who take on odd jobs that the mobs and cops don't want to handle. Apart from mobs and cops, there is a mercenary group known as Twilight, also known as tags. What tags are basically people trained to be mercenaries with drugs known as Celebro. These drugs are used to enhance the body, making the consumer almost superhuman. Over the course of the story, especially for the first half, we are given a setting and a plot to follow. Basically, as the handymen do their jobs, flashbacks of their past are shown more on how they came to be, which was really interesting. The story between Nicholas and Warwick is the best part of the show. The first half does a fine job of setting up the world and explains it well. However, the second half is a train wreck. They introduced this interesting world with many characters and too much story for it to handle. By the end of the series, there was so many stories that were told and none of them came to a conclusion. I'm dead serious. There were stories which didn't make sense. There were ones that were supposed to be linked together, and there was some that was completely boring and given the shaft. This is disappointing because it had a really great first half, but they completely lost focus and tried to do too much, and basically made a pointless second half. There are two main characters that make up the handyman. The third I would hardly call a main considering the treatment she got. Nicholas Brown, apart from being a handyman, is also a Twilight. At first he plays the role of a badass gangster wielding a blade in a suit. However, as the series progresses, it is revealed to be what you not expect. His background story along with Warwick is really interesting on how they met. However, his motivation feels lacking. We see who motivates him to do what he does, but we don't know why. And this is a big major negative theme throughout the show. What makes him a unique protagonist is that he is deaf, but he has an exceptionally strong vision and lip reading skills. In sort of a way, he's a silent protagonist because he can't communicate properly. Warwick Angelo is the other handyman, a laid-back member of society who's just trying to do his job. Unlike most other characters in the show, Warwick doesn't possess any special abilities. The only thing he does possess that is unique to him is his ability to memorize anything given to him. Warwick has an interesting background. He started from a wealthy background to the normal, into the slums of Ergostellum. Along with Nick, their backgrounds are the most interesting. Unfortunately for him and Nick, they get less screen time during the second half and almost become secondary characters. And the final supposed main character is Alex Benedito, a former prostitute turned into a secretary of the handyman. As the story progresses, she tries to learn more about her new employers and given some development and a backstory. And she does feel like a character that was just around for some fan service. There is no other female character in the show that is really sexualized as her. Unfortunately, she falls along with the lines with many other characters. Story and development got cut short. There's so many characters that have an interesting background and stories, but because there's so many of them, none of them had a concluding story to follow, so all the added characters felt like unnecessary extras. If there is one thing Gangsta did right, it's in its presentation. The art style suits the themes perfectly, making it look like everything you want in a crime drama. It's nitty and gritty and looks awesome. It does a great job of setting up the world. It lets us know that this is nowhere near a peaceful city. It is a city filled with corruption. The animation for the fight scenes are pretty good in my opinion. It is animated well. Unfortunately, there is a few of them, and they pass by pretty quick, and most of the character designs look pretty similar, as in their faces look pretty close to each other. The OST is really good, especially if it's setting up for the atmosphere or complementing it very well. It's a great mixture of hip hop and jazz music to suit the modern day criminal underworld setting. There is some electronica music as well, giving us a good variety to listen to. There's one particular scene in the show where Alex starts singing some blues, and it's a really beautiful thing to listen to, and it does a great job at setting up for what's going to happen in the future, because for that moment, everything is peaceful. The opening song is pretty good, the animation is stylish, and it's a really cool song to listen to. The ending song is much slower, even though the art style is the same in the ending as is the opening. The song is rather forgettable. At the start of the summer season, I had such high hopes, and it had an amazing start. I was very interested in the story and was really invested in the world they had set up, but the slow pacing threw me off, and adding a lot more stories into the mix just made it even more confusing than it already was. Learning about Nicholas and Warwick's past are the most enjoyable moments in the show, although it's a bit slow. It gives us a really good idea of how unfair the world is in this world of Gangsta. Nothing is ever a happy ending. The fight scenes are enjoyable to watch, but there are far too little of them because there's so much dialogue. For the story of Gangsta, I give it a 5. Although the first half was really interesting, it was the second half that really let this series down. They added way too many stories into such a short amount of time. But what really was the kicker was none of the extra stories were ever completed, which left to an unsatisfying, incomplete ending with many answers left out. For the animation sound, I give it both an 8. The animation and art style is really good at setting up a nitty-gritty crime world of anime. The animation in the fight scenes look really good, but there were too few of them. The OST is great, it has many variety of tracks filled with hip hop, jazz and electronica. The OP was great, whereas the ending felt kind of underwhelming. For the characters, I give it a 6. Only Nick and Warwick get some proper development and loads of screen time for their backgrounds. They have a really interesting background which make up the best part of the show. However, there were way too many characters with backgrounds left out, and Nick and Warwick were kind of left out in the second half. For my own personal enjoyment, I give it a 7. The first half is what got me hooked into this anime, just learning about the characters' past and enjoying the more mature gritty setting of the anime. After the midway point, it lost focus and my personal enjoyment declined. I legit thought this could have been a strong contender for Anime of the Year. For the overall score, after rounding up, I give Gangsta a 7 out of 10. Gangsta is an example of a show that started off really strong but then drops heavily around the halfway mark. If you're gonna watch this anime, I recommend at least watching the first 7 episodes, when we learn about the characters' past. I recommend this anime to people who are looking for a crime drama and those who are into mobs and those type of settings. Be wary of the halfway point. Know that this is not a complete anime, and it doesn't look like there's a second season coming because Mangalobe shut down. If you want to watch Gangsta, it is available for legal streaming on Funimation, if you have access to it. For Australian viewers like myself, it is available on Anime Lab. Well, that's it for this edition of Newin Anime Review. If you want to read the written review, link is down below in the description, straight to my anime list. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. Don't follow it, go watch another video. That all said and done, sayonara.